What's up everybody? Welcome to Queer Girl Straight Skates. Today I'm going to teach you how to do transitions on roller skates. So what is a transition, you might be asking? A transition is when you go from skating one direction to skating the other direction. So you're essentially just turning around in your skates, and so you might be skating forward and then you turn and you're skating backwards, or you might be skating backwards and then you turn and you're skating forward. So what does this look like? Let me show you. That's definitely my weak side. Also do them, make it look like it's spinning. Okay, so here are the steps to doing a transition. With the transition, you want to first make sure that when you're going into the transition, your knees are bent. The more bent your knees are, the easier the transition is going to be for you to do. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about it as steps, not as, oh, I need to turn all the way around, but rather there are some steps that I need to do. And we're going to talk about it like it's a book. So we have both of our feet facing this way, and let's imagine that we're going to the left. So we are going to open the book to the left, and then we're going to close the book. So what we're doing with our feet, we are taking our foot that we are going to turn that direction. So if we're turning right, I'm going to make my right foot go out, and then I'm going to close with my left foot. Our knees are bent. We're going to take whichever leg is in the direction that we want to turn, and we're going to open it out. So I want to turn right, so I'm opening out my right foot, and then I'm closing it with my left foot. So let's say I want to turn left. I have my knees bent. I'm going to open up the book with my left foot and then close it with my right foot. Now, the most important thing when you're transitioning is to keep your feet staggered, because if your feet are right next to each other and you try and do this, you're probably going to lose your balance. But the more staggered that you are, the easier this is going to be for you to like switch around and transition. So it's like a step, step. So you're skating and then you go step, step. So you're gonna be skating, you're gonna go step, step. Skating, step, step. Before you are able to actually transition, there are a couple things that you need to be able to do. The first one is you need to be able to balance on one leg. So you need to be able to easily balance in this position, easily balance in this position. The reason why that is because when you are turning, you are for half a second balancing before you bring your leg back down. So make sure that you have balance on one foot. The next thing that you need to be able to do or be aware of is you need to be able to stand in this position. So when your knees are bent, you have to be able to have that kind of side stance going. You may have seen this before because skaters will skate like this. That is side stance. So you need to make sure that you are able to open up your feet like that in order to successfully do a transition. One thing that may be getting in your way is your hip flexors. You might not be able to actually open up your hips like this, and that's really important. So what you would want to do is you would want to go and find some stretches and stretch to get your hip flexors stretched out so you can stand like this. Sometimes the issue is that your ankles aren't flexible enough to actually make that side stance position. And one thing that you can do to try and work on your ankle flexibility is either in skates or out of skates, you can work on standing like this. Standing like this stretches out your ankles and gives you a little bit more flexibility. When you're first going into it, you might have to bend your knees to actually make it into that position, but the more you're in this position, the more comfortable you'll be. So you're gonna have a good side and a bad side. One side that you feel really comfortable with and one side that you're like, how in the world I literally can't do this? And the way to figure that out is whatever your dominant foot is when you're skating, that's the one that's going to be your turning leg. So like I am a right foot dominant skater.
Wait, how do I know what my dominant foot is?
So whenever you are skating, the skate that leads, that you put the most weight on, that's your dominant foot.
So, Rebel, I've never skated before. How do I know what my dominant foot skate is?
Well, thanks for asking, shoved behind the camera. What happens is when you are going up to any curb or any staircase, whatever foot you naturally step up with first, that's your dominant foot. You do it subconsciously. If I am a right foot dominant skater, then I will be skating, I will be keeping my weight on my right foot, I will lift up my other foot, and then turn around my right foot to continue going.
And make sure that you are staying at staggered feet the whole time.
Staggered feet. So if I am a left foot dominant, then I would keep my weight on my left foot, I would turn my right foot, and then switch my left foot at the last moment. If you are struggling with picking up your feet to transition, there are a couple other ways that you could start out working on it. One of those ways is just by pivoting instead of actually picking up your feet and stepping. So I'm going this way, I'm pivoting. So when you're going forward and you're transitioning to the back, you would pivot on your front wheels. And then when you're going back and you're transitioning forward, you would pivot on your back wheels. And if you're really worried about transitioning and you can't pivot and you can't pick up your feet, the first step that you can do is you can start just trying to kind of spin around to go backwards. So you can try and go into side stance and then just go backwards this way. So I didn't really pick up my feet at all. I pivoted a little bit just with that back foot. This move will help you feel a little bit more comfortable with the motion for you to then take the steps to actually step into the transitions. If you are starting roller derby, with roller derby, they will require you to step as opposed to pivoting or just spinning. A good way to stretch out your hips is to do this stretch right here. So you can stretch it out and have your hips on the ground like that. You can also go back into that stretch and stretch like this. This really stretches out your hip flexors and it feels really nice actually right now. I have not stretched my hips enough recently. And going back and forth between those two is actually really helpful as well. But yeah, you can just sit here and watch TV or sit here and play with your dog. Boy, come here. Stop eating grass. Our dog is a cow. All right, you want to say thanks everybody for watching Queer Girl Straight Skates? Wah! Wah! Oh, give me a kiss. Oh. All right, thanks for watching this episode of Queer Girl Straight Skates. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to know how to transition and you don't know how to roller skate yet, you can watch my How to Roller Skate episode, and that will help you learn how to roller skate. And for all your roller skating needs from helmet to toe stop, go to planetRollerskate.shop. And until next time, later, skaters. Oh, wait, say later, skaters. Hi. Okay. Whoa. Oh my gosh, I was literally just standing there.